What up, what up, what up? YouTube Live. This is yours truly, Rama Screen, covering movies, TV, and entertainment. Right now is Sunday night, October 20th, 2019, and I just finished watching the latest episode of The Walking Dead. By the way, I've already posted my review of tonight's Watchmen episode, so you can watch my review of Watchmen season 1 episode 1 also right here on this channel. So, right now, though, I will be discussing with you tonight's The Walking Dead season 10, episode 3, titled Ghosts. Appropriately titled so. Heads up, this video contains spoilers. This review is mainly for those of you, my fellow Walking Dead fans, who have also watched tonight's episode. Okay? Wow, there's a lot to break down here because there's a lot that happens in tonight's episode. Let's start with Carol. So, the ghosts in Carol's situation here. Um, okay, so as you have seen, Carol is dealing with shit. Mostly the fact that she hasn't gotten over, the her grief over the loss of Henry. Henry, of course, as you know, that young kid that King Ezekiel and Carol looked after as their own, and he got his head chopped off by Alpha and the Whisperers. Henry was one of the many heads that were on those spikes that was on that now on the border. But in this episode, the spikes got pulled off, and the border for Whispers got extended. So in that tense moment, Carol has that gun behind her or hidden, and she pulls the gun. She's about to shoot, and Daryl kind of prevents it. I gotta say that is some scary scene right there. And it's a testament not only to Carol. Um, her name is, let me get this right. I don't want to butcher anybody's. But people get angry whenever I mispronounce people's name. Melissa McBride. That is not only a testament to Melissa McBride, but also it's a testament to Samantha Morton, who plays Alpha. God damn, she's so good. Oh, you gotta give credit where credit is due. And a ton of credit goes to the Walking Dead producers. Whenever they cast somebody, any actor, to play the next new villain, they always get it right, spot on. I mean, with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, with David Morrissey, and now with freaking Samantha Morton. And she is so sinister in that scene, man. She's like, what did she say? One time, you broke our treaty 3 times. We're always watching. Oh, and that stare. Oh my God. That's an Oscar nominee right there. Samantha Morton has been nominated many times. So, oh, so delicious. It's so rewarding as an audience whenever you're witnessing or when you're watching a great acting in action or great acting at play, what I'm saying. And that is some great acting right there by Samantha Morton. The same goes for Melissa McBride, because in this episode, man, is it just me or they amp up the horror element in this one? In this episode, it's not just the zombies, because they have waves of zombies, herds of them attacking the compound, and that's why the Alexandrians get so exhausted, because they lack sleep. They always have to fight off these walkers. But on top of that, in this episode, there are, like, just like the title says, ghosts. Um, and Carol, Carol is, what's the word I'm looking for here? Is dealing with some sort of a trauma. And you know what? I gotta say that it's funny that they tackle that part about Carol here in episode 3 when, it's been months, right? Since the end of last season. And so you would think that maybe Carol has had that trouble when she was out, on that freaking shrimp boat that looks like freaking Forrest Gump's boat. And so it's like, oh, maybe Carol noticing Alpha in the previous episode, episode 1, maybe that triggers it again. Maybe she was already in a good place by the time she came back, and then she got off the dock. Remember that in the episode 1? And then when she saw Alpha from a distance, when they stare down each other, it triggered the trauma. It triggered the hate, the anger. It triggered the not being able to sleep because he keeps seeing his son. I'm sorry, she keeps seeing her son. Um, that's probably why. That's probably why. And so it's scary stuff tonight, especially that part where Carol's hanging by her legs and she like tries her best to fend off those walkers from biting her. It's just like, oh my god. And a part of you kind of wonder too, is that a hallucination or is that for real? Because apparently the conversation that she has with Daryl about Daryl's dad, apparently she's it's all in her head. Daryl's like, my dad was not a truck driver. Like, I never told you that story. That never happened to my dad. Oh shit, that's some sixth sense stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's like Bruce Willis and Haley Joel Osment stuff. You know what I'm saying? If I did not know any better, I thought that tonight's episode, especially Carol's part, was directed by James Wan because that is some insidious 101 right there. Holy crap. Um, yeah. There's a scene where the ghost almost like attacks her and then she wakes up and then she says a book like an economics or a children's book, whatever it is. The cover has this happy family on it, and then it just changes into her face and images of the children that have died under her watch. Not just Henry, but also remember that girl that Carol tells like, go look at the yellow flower. Look at the yellow flower, and then she shoots her in the back of the head. So it's these demons, man, haunting her, and you could blame it on lack of sleep, but I would say that the fact that this one lady Carol who kills Henry is still roaming about. That could also be the one that causes her to this the one that the trigger again that causes her to see stuff again. In addition to the lack of sleep. But man, I don't know what the cure is. I don't know what the cure is. You could say just sleep it off, or you could say maybe after Carol kills Alpha, then these ghosts will go away. We don't know, but uh, as a fan of this character, Carol, it kind of saddens me to see her this way. I always see her as this Rambo, female Rambo. You know what I'm saying? That is not tied down and she can survive alone, by herself. And she's the one that saves all those guys from the terminus. Remember that with a freaking arrow? That's how I see her, like a female Rambo. And but now she's unstable and she's seeing shit and she's being haunted by her demons and the ghosts. And Henry shows up as well. um, she becomes more of an she becomes more of a liability than an asset, um, which is not good because we want Carol to be reliable, like a rock, not somebody who's drifting off. Um, who drifts off. I'm sorry, that's what I mean to say. So, yeah, it kind of saddens me to see Carol in this state. We'll see whether or not the writers will have her eventually be well. But by the end of tonight's episode, obviously she's not there yet. because she still imagines like she's playing house with freaking Daryl and Henry. That was also kind of creepy. Um, so yeah, man, they really amp up the horror element, the supernatural horror for this episode. It really felt like James Wan had made or had directed Carol's part of tonight's episode. So let's move on to the next one here. The one that cracks me up the most, Aaron and Negan. Talk about odd couple. Da, 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 da. Come on, where's my fellow odd couple fans out there? Felix Unger, Oscar. You know what I'm talking about. And Aaron, holy crap, Aaron is so uptight. My God, he like it's as if there's a broom broke off in his butt, man. Jeez. But it's justified. He still has pent up hatred towards Negan after all these years, because remember there was a time jump, right? Um, but this is probably the first time that they were ever paired together. And Father Gabe also does it in a funny style, like, "Hey, peanut butter, me jelly. You can fight. He can fight. Now pair up." You gotta admit that whole thing with Negan and Aaron is the funniest part of tonight's episode, whether or not the show intends it that way. Um, and another thing that cracks me up, and this is nothing new, of course. Negan, um, and this is a testament to Jeffrey Dean Morgan. What an acting, what an actor. Even when Negan means well, his face his face makes it look like he's about to do something bad. You know what I'm saying? Right before he picks Aaron up, because Aaron by this time is already blind from the whole thing. But before he like tries to help Aaron, the camera kind of pans on Negan's face, and it looks as if Negan is about to enjoy murdering Aaron. You know what I'm saying? That's Negan for you, man. Oh, you have this. Uh, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? This anxiety, right? You just don't know whether or not Negan one of these days will snap. Not that he gives any reason to, but it's just his face, the way he expresses it. He can't help it. That's just his style. Even like when he's holding the crowbar and the camera pans on the crowbar, and then freaking Aaron says, "Drop the crowbar. You're not gonna use that." And then there was like a couple of seconds of silence, like they stare down at each other. Even then, it was like, "Holy crap! Is Negan gonna strike at Aaron with that crowbar?" You know what I'm saying? Not that Negan has reason to, or uh, not that Negan is unstable or anything. It's just that the way he carries himself, his presence, his persona, even when he means well, even when he says, "I'm changed, I'm not that person anymore." So it's understandable why freaking folks like Aaron don't trust him, because I don't know, it's just there's something about Negan that just gives out that vibe. Maybe it's just me. Oh man, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, man. Like holy crap. um I met him once, by the way. He's a cool guy in real life. What a really chill dude. He really owns this character, Negan. So this part of the story is also sort of like the humbling of Aaron, if you will. There are many episodes of the humbling of Rick Grimes, the humbling of Daryl, where the characters um, come to a self-realization or epiphany about something or somebody. In this case, Aaron realizes, like, you know what? Maybe I can rely on Negan after all. Maybe maybe Negan has changed. Maybe Negan ain't so bad after all anymore. So, and the humbling of Aaron, because Aaron realizes that I have to trust somebody. You know, in this case, Negan. Uh, if it weren't for Negan, I would have died. You know, Negan saved his life, dude. He was like freaking Aaron's on the floor, and the walker's about to attack him, and Aaron that can't see shit, and Negan comes to the rescue. So it's really a humbling of Aaron episode. So yeah, interesting. The other part that also happens very briefly in tonight's episode, I want to talk about it also very briefly because it's like a really slim part of tonight's episode. Uh, Eugene and Rosita laid down the smackdown and gave Eugene a reality check. You can blame it on lack of sleep, right? Just like Carol, how she's seeing things because she's not getting enough sleep. But in this case, I think it's not necessarily lack of sleep. Um, and so Eugene receives a reality check pill, and I gotta give credit to Eugene for taking it like a man. You know, he takes it well. Not a lot of people do out there. Not a lot of men. I've been there too. I've been friend zone. I've had women tell me, "Hey, you know what? I like hanging out with you, but I don't see you that way." I kid you not, that happened to me more than a couple of times, and in those times I didn't take it well. I didn't like lash out on them, but I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I'm gonna unfriend you on social media. I don't want to, meet you anymore. But Eugene, man, you got to give credit to him, man. He takes it like a gentleman, and and Rosita also like, hey, it doesn't mean that what we have is not meaningful. Our friendship, just because it's not romantic, it doesn't mean that it's nothing. And so I think that's a good clearing the air moment. It's a good clarity moment for both characters, Rosita and Eugene. I'm glad that that happens, um, because Eugene is no longer left hoping. You know what I'm saying? That's always a bad place to be in when you're like, oh, hoping that maybe if I stick around longer, if I keep helping her, then she might notice or she might like me. Dude, I've been there, man. It's a shitty place to be in. So now it's all out in the open, and he doesn't have to be having that hope anymore. But they could still be good friends, and that is something that that is not nothing. Um, but last thing I want to say is that it hurts. It really hurts. Um, if you haven't been in Eugene's situation before, lucky you, man. You must be the sexiest woman or sexiest man alive when the person that you like you back. You know what I'm saying? When the person that you like never actually has that talk with you. It's like, hey, we gotta talk. I don't see you as a potential romance. I just see you as a friend or brother. If nobody has ever done that to you, dude, you are the luckiest bastard on earth. Unfortunately, for the rest of us, we know exactly what Eugene felt at that moment in this episode. We know how that hurts. It hurts. It's not fun when you hear a reality check like that, when somebody you like tells you straight to your face, hey, I don't like you back. Um, but I think what happens in tonight's episode between Rosita and Eugene is healthy. Like I said, now they both can move on, not from each other, not apart, not away, but move on from, like, Rosita doesn't have to feel like, oh, maybe she's misleading Eugene, and Eugene doesn't have to feel like hoping anymore, right? Like I implied earlier. So that's what I mean by moving on. So yeah, good on Eugene. No, you don't give Eugene a lot of credit because Eugene is sort of weird. an oddball. But the guy is not just smart, but he has like a sensibility about himself, about stuff like this. So yeah, good on Eugene. Good on Eugene. The other person that also is having some PTSD, not just Carol, because of Henry's death. The other person is also the doctor, Siddiq. A very very slim part of tonight's episode, but you could see that he also is having trouble getting over that whole ordeal from last season. And luckily, the other Met guy is helping him out. It's good to have just like the Beatles says, you get by with a little help from your friend. And I'm glad that dude, whatever his name is, I don't remember, but I'm glad that dude kind of helps him out. And in a funny way too, that story that he shares, like, oh yeah, I used to be a med guy in Afghanistan or Iraq war, and he calls himself an Adonis kind of guy. I love it. I love it. So nothing heals better than laughter and humor. So um, good on them. Good on them. I think when it comes to, and I'm gonna finish with this, the whole thing with the border. Now that Alpha has extended their reach, their border to include some areas where the Alexandrians, need to go there to hunt. Just like Carol says, that's our hunting ground. We find food there. Now you're gonna own it? Hell no. That whole thing, that whole situation, man, it it makes me curious um, to see at what point will Michonne and her people fight back? Because if the heads on the spike were not enough reasons to wage a war against the Whisperers, the deaths of their loved ones, then what will? You know what I'm saying? But then again, we have come across this song and dance number before in previous seasons with Rick Grimes, when Rick Grimes tries to make sure that his people keeps their distance from Negan's saviors. The same thing with the governor. It's like, hey, as long as we stay in the prison. So it goes to my argument about The Walking Dead that after a while, because they keep going on forever, it never gets canceled or it never ends its run, that the story kind of recycles itself. You kind of seen this song and dance number before. So I'm sure there'll be a point somewhere down the line where Michonne and her people, Daryl, Carol, everybody, will get their revenge, but we don't know where that turning point or turn of events will be. What that thing is that will motivate them to finally get back at Alpha. But man, Alpha right now has the upper hand, and she is just enjoying it. Did you see her face? She's just loving it, man. She is loving it. She's like, mm. This is my land now, bitch. Oh boy. Things are getting hot, man. Things are getting hot. Ghosts. What a great episode. So intense, scary. It make the episode tonight made me kind of jumpy a few times because I did not expect the supernatural shit to happen. So I like it though. It's something different, right? Other than just the zombies. So it's pretty cool. What do you guys think about tonight's episode? Do you agree or disagree with my assessment? Um, which parts of tonight's episode that you like more than others? Maybe you like Aaron and Negan more. Maybe you find that more amusing than then Carol seeing ghosts, then Eugene and Rosita confronting each other. Let me know your thoughts about tonight's episode down in the comment section below. And as always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell, and if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. As always, let's rock this.